Hello, my name is Emily Bernstein, and I'm the Education Outreach Associate at the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh. The Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh connects the horrors of the Holocaust and anti-Semitism with injustices of today. Through education, the Holocaust Center seeks to address these injustices and empower individuals to build a more civil and humane society. Our offerings include exhibits in our public gallery and online, an extensive library and archive, engaging cultural events, internationally renowned speakers, and free and affordable resources for teachers. Founded by Hal and Diane Waldman 36 years ago, the Waldman International Arts and Writing Competition allows students in grades 6 through 12 to submit original art and writing about the Holocaust in competition for academic scholarships to further their study of the Holocaust or their chosen art form. Participants come from across Allegheny County, our partner region in Israel, Carmiel Misgav, and now also from our new sister city, Warsaw, Poland. I'd like to welcome Hal and Diane Waldman, who are longtime supporters of the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh, as well as philanthropists in our community and having served our community in many, many ways. So thank you for being here. And I'm really looking forward to interviewing you and learning more about how you started the Waldman International Arts and Writing Competition, why it's important to you, and how it has helped our community. So welcome.
Nice to be here with you, Emily.
It's great to have you. So let's get started. Let's jump right in. What experience inspired you to start this competition, and why was it important to you to start the scholarship?
Well, in 1988, Hal and I took a UJF mission to Israel. And after going to Yad Vashem, we were so moved that we came back to Pittsburgh and said, we have to do something. Let's think. Hal went and got in touch with Isaiah Kuberstein, and he brought home a 3-page, all the different scholarships, all the different things. And we combined a couple, and we came up with this idea for the middle school students for a writing contest about the Holocaust.
So it's really taken on even further than a writing competition. So that kind of sets your competition apart.
Yeah, what really happened was when we came back, the Holocaust Center was really just getting started. It was a very small little townhouse that Lenny Rudolph gave to the Federation, right next to the old Federation building. And Isaiah Kuperstein was the first director of the Holocaust Center. And like Diane said, we were so moved by our mission trip, we really wanted to do something related to the Holocaust. And he gave us a bunch of different ideas. And I brought the list home and showed Diane, and she immediately liked the idea of education and writing and things like that. So that's what we went with. And the first couple of years, it was only writing. And then it got expanded to the arts. And actually, that's probably my favorite part of the contest, is some of the most amazing artwork that people produced these last 36 years.
I know that you have some artwork with you that we're going to display next to the screen, some of your favorite pieces. Would you like to tell us a little bit about those pieces now, just so that we can have that for our description?
The one piece we're going to show you, a piece that was originally done as the first symbol of the Holocaust Center. It was used for many years, and it was a woodcut created by a CMU artist named Bruce Carter. And the Holocaust Center used that symbol for many, many years. And we were given by one of the executive directors, Linda Horowitz, a full-size woodcut of it. And we have cherished that always. We also were given through the years a very stark picture of a survivor that I have in my study now, and we'll be happy to send you those pictures.
I'm looking forward to that. I know that this, even in my own time working with the Waldman competition, I can see how it has touched the lives of countless students and teachers, not just in Pittsburgh, but beyond. And it's also been able to enrich Holocaust education in our area because it gives students the opportunities not just to learn about survivors, but meet them and commemorate their lives and the lives of local survivors as well as liberators. So it's such a local way of learning about this complex topic.
One of the things that was really so rewarding was when we started this 36 years ago, there were a lot more survivors. They were in great shape. And in the beginning, instead of having a collective award ceremony like we do now, the survivors, and occasionally I would go out to the schools themselves and present the awards to the children at a an auditorium meeting. And they, of course, told their tale of being a survivor. And I think that was incredibly impactful on the gatherings. Now, it's much more difficult now, 36 years has passed, but that was one of the most rewarding things for Diane and myself, to see the survivors in action. And as you know, it's not easy for a lot of survivors to talk about what they went through. There's one survivor who's kind of legendary in Pittsburgh, Jack Sitzemer, who really, really impacted me through these years. And he used to do a lot of the awards with a lot of energy, and he just had the kids spellbound.
Yeah, it's difficult to recreate that experience now. I know people who still talk about adults who have participated in the Waldman competition who still remember how moving that experience was for them. So it's moving for me to hear their stories of how they experienced this. And you mentioned that art was not just the writing, but the art was part of your favorite aspect of the competition. What do you think art adds to Holocaust education?
I think it just really makes it such a reality. It strikes the inside of your heart. I mean, it's as opposed to just words. When you actually visualize something, just like when we're in Yad Vashem, and you see everything, and you see what these kids have actually, what they're thinking about, what they're feeling, it makes such an impact.
Yeah, I think art provides such a visceral reaction. I've been the judge for many years, and you read a lot of the essays or poetry, and they're great, they're amazing, and they're moving. But it takes 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes to get through that. When you look at art right away, I mean, it has an immediate impact on you instinctively, and I find that to be very expressive, very expressive.
So what was it like for you in the very beginning of starting this competition to see the competition take shape?
I think the most rewarding thing was that we specifically wanted it geared to non-Jews as well as Jews, because I think the central point of the Holocaust Center is education. And, we're now seeing all sorts of rising tides of anti-Semitism. And I think the best way to confront that is not so much laws and things like that, but to educate people when they're young, before they've formulated these terrible, virulent ideas. And I think that's the best part of the Holocaust essay contest, because we're getting the kids in middle school, which is wonderful, and see the reaction of a lot of the non-Jews who have won through the years. Well, you've made an ally of those folks, and somebody who treats people as people, and they're going to spend the rest of their life being that way. And we had an experience, I'll let Diane talk about it, of one of our past winners.
It was several years ago where we were having the award ceremony held in East Liberty, and the gentleman that was running the facility, he actually made an announcement, and he goes, I don't know if anybody realizes this, but 30 years ago, I entered the contest. He did win first prize, but since then, now he is bringing in students, and participating in the contest. And to me, that was full circle. That's exactly what we wanted. He was not Jewish, and he was just expressing and educating non-Jews, a lot that you don't hear about it in the education system. I didn't. I was brought up in Florida, and it wasn't in the public schools. You know, you would have it at your Jewish schools, but nothing in the public schools. So it was so important to actually have it brought full circle.
So, you know, if you go back 36 years and you do a little math, you know, there's thousands and thousands of young people that have been educated. And then if you think those people have then passed it on to their friends, or they stick up for somebody, you know, it has a compounding effect to reach more and more people. There's a pretty nice outreach with the whole concept.
So this is a wonderful segue into our next question, which you may have answered partially already, but over the years, I'm wondering if there are any, you know, any big impressions that this endeavor has made on you both, not just in meeting the students and the teachers, but how this has affected you since you brought this to us, to our community.
Well, you know, through the years, we've occasionally gotten letters from some of the winners, you know, thanking us for doing it. Well, you know, that took a lot of effort actually on their part, and it shows, you know, that it was meaningful for them. So, I mean, that's been very, very rewarding to see that. And then, you know, sometimes the last few years when we've had this joint ceremony and you meet the whole family, not just the winner, but the family's so proud of their child for winning this. You know you're having an impact on these people that'll probably last a lifetime.
And not only on the kids, but we developed relationships with a lot of these teachers that we wouldn't come in contact. You know, our kids had already gone through the education system, but actually getting to know them and seeing how excited they are about teaching, you know, the 9-week course that they'll start with the Holocaust. And if they're so lucky, they'll have the videos of some survivors, if not an actual survivor, that can attend. So it's really important.
It's true. We've seen some incredible artwork and incredible writing in the past few years, especially. And what's nice is that we also are now working with light centers, and they have been able to, students who don't have the opportunity to win the competition, actually they're still recognized for their art by being able to display it in their light centers. So you're having an effect even beyond our own exhibit space, is that schools now have, our light centers now have spaces where students can display their art, even if they didn't win the scholarship. So it's a ripple effect.
Another really great piece of art that we've had a few years. It's very difficult, but I remember when the Israeli students movie videos,
Mm-hmm.
they really were impactful to me. I mean, you know, there's been 36 years and I can't remember each year, but I do remember specifically that year, some amazing, you know, short vignette movies that were just amazingly well done. And that kind of brings me to the Israeli winners who come here. You know, I don't think they need much of a lesson in what the Holocaust means, but when they come to Pittsburgh and spend a week with us, I mean, they really become goodwill ambassadors, and it's so meaningful for them to take that trip. And I would love to see that happen with a Warsaw contingent, especially, you know, given the rising tide of anti-Semitism in Europe these days. It'd be nice to get some ambassadors over there helping us out.
And they're excited to participate in it as well. The Marasha Lauder School is the school that participated this year, and we're so happy to have them.
Diane and I and the family went to Warsaw pre-COVID, and you know, from a Jewish heritage point of view, it's one of the most meaningful cities in the world.
I look forward to going there someday. This is another good segue. What are some of your favorite, most memorable competition years? Do you have any favorite entries? I know you briefly mentioned some of your favorite entries, but do any more come to mind?
There's one for me, and it was, we've never had it since. He played the piano and he wrote a musical piece. It was so chilling to the bone. I mean, you really thought you were right there when it was. I never have heard anything quite as moving as that year. And I think he was only 14 years old. But that really made, he won first place. But it really made such an impact on all of us.
You know, I remember a lot of the artwork that's affected me is basically art of, you know, people in their prison garb. That you think that kids 12 and 14, you know, have experienced or seen that ugliness and are able to translate that into art. That's got to be a pretty indelible experience in them that they think about. But there's a number of art pieces that tie into the prison garb that have always impacted me.
Yeah, I think that young people really, they're often underestimated. And I think that's one thing I appreciate most about your competition is that it gives them a chance to shine, not just as artists, but as deep thinkers. Moving on, how do you think, given all that you've said previously, how do you think this competition has influenced our local students' understanding of the Holocaust, Jewish culture, and Israel?
You know, that's a little the answer, but it obviously has influenced. I think about the teacher at Shaler, who's, you know, been our teacher of the year, and we had the great honor of going out to see the classroom he set up. And I mean, he's not directly tied to the arts contest, but it clearly had a huge impact on him. He said that that's what inspired him. So that inspiration, well, he teaches several hundred kids a year that go through that classroom. So that really has been one of the many rewarding things about this art contest that we have.
Nick Haberman is his name. He now works very closely with us. He's the founder of the Light Education Initiative.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job.
He has. Very worthy of our Holocaust Educator of the Year award.
I mean, honestly, he could win it every year.
And he takes your competition to heart. In fact, this year, he and a couple of other teachers that are part of our outreach committee created a Waldman professional development video where they helped other teachers use Waldman and Chutzpah together to encourage students to do art and writing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was a really lovely program, which I can send to you.
Great.
So also thinking about not just the Holocaust and Jewish culture, but Israel, you mentioned how students come and they're like goodwill ambassadors from Israel. Do you have any takeaways from being part of those conversations with Israeli students and non-Jewish Pittsburgh students?
I remember the year before COVID, and I was speaking with a couple of the girls. They had gone up to school in Beaver, and they were so surprised. They would talk with the girls in the girls' bathroom, and some of the topics, they were really surprised to find out that one was pregnant and how that's allowed. It wouldn't have been allowed, they said, in their high school. And it was just interesting to see how they related and respected each other, and just how they were like best friends in an instant through this program.
The maturity of the Israeli kids is really off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
They were serious-minded students. They all had strong direction in their life, what the next step was educationally or for the IDF. And, it just makes you very proud to know those kids.
And we're really happy to have partnership together of the Jewish Federation of Greater Pittsburgh helping us to make that opportunity as well, bringing the students over. So for those of you who are new to the Waldman competition, our students here win a scholarship, but students in Israel win a trip to Pittsburgh. And it's here that they get to visit our schools and get to know our community. And it's such a beautiful experience, and we're grateful to be able to have them. And now hopefully we'll be able to have Polish winners come and do the same exact thing, which will be, I think, a very enriching experience to the program itself. So moving forward with that whole concept of the international aspect of the competition, first over the last several years, the competition incorporated Israel, now Poland. What do you think this has added to the competition and the experience of the participants as a whole?
Well, I think, the winners from Pittsburgh getting to meet Israeli students, and then if they can meet Polish ones, that'll be a good education for them, because I'm quite sure most of them have not met kids from overseas, and they have at least a little opportunity to share some experiences, or at least see the work that each other has done. I think most of the kids that win, generally read more than just their submittal. They become educated in some of the other ones. So it's a good cross-pollination, I think, of people from different parts of the world, different backgrounds, getting together.
So what has been the most rewarding part of the Waldman competition for you in the past 36 years?
I think the most rewarding part is the number of kids that we've educated through the years, probably approaching 10,000 kids. And then if you think about it, there's a compounding effect, because they no doubt have talked to parents, friends, etc. So when we started this thing 36 years ago, we had no idea that, it would continue for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's gone on for 36 years with all those people educated, with a lot of ceremonies where people were honored. And I just think it's had an impact exceed greatly what we originally envisioned. I think I was like 32 or 33 when we started it, and Diane was in her 20s. What it's grown to has just really been so rewarding to us. And it really, thanks to you and all the professionals at the Holocaust Center, are really the engine that have grown this and come up with all these different ideas, from bringing art involved, making it international. It's just been a wonderful collaboration.
And not only that, but bringing the families into it now, as opposed to just the award ceremony at the schools. The families get so much more. Even the younger brothers and sisters of the winners, they're like so excited that they want to, when it's their turn, they want to contribute and try for something.
I have to say, it's been such a long time since we've had our in-person award ceremony. I truly miss it. And I'm sure you do as well, just seeing the look on the families' faces when their students are recognized and they're so proud of them. And that there's students coming from all different backgrounds being awarded on stage. And my favorite addition has been what Hal alluded to before, is the essay competition. I think that the essay competition has also enriched the program and allowed students to express themselves in critical thought. And for those of you who aren't familiar, the additional essay question typically addresses the issue of anti-Semitism in our community and empowers students to think about what they would do to change our current situation and increase in anti-Semitism.
Yeah, I remember when you did it directly after the Tree of Life incident, and some of those essays were very moving.
Mm-hmm. it was hard to choose. I think the
Yeah.
judges had a difficult time. But it just goes to prove again that students can comprehend so much more than we know, and they have a lot of young wisdom for us to learn from.
One of the things that I really enjoyed hearing the participants get so excited about was when we had it hosted. One of the venues was the Andy Warhol Museum, and the kids were like, oh my goodness, my piece, my jewelry, my sculpture, my whatever it was, is in the same place where it hangs Andy Warhol pieces. So that year they really were excited about that.
And we still do have the Andy Warhol Museum involved sometimes in our judging. I'm sending a wink out to our judges who I can't name, but we're very happy to have them involved as well.
I think when we had it, we were lucky enough to have a friend of ours who's a local artist put on a display, as well as we had ample room for all the winners and participants in the contest itself, and the chance to do it at the Warhol, which is one of Pittsburgh's most famous artists, really gave a degree of importance to the award winners, particularly in the art area. That was really a truly memorable venue.
Well, given all of this impact you've had on the community and how learning has grown exponentially about the Holocaust, looking back and then moving forward, what is or are your hopes for the future of Holocaust education?
Well, I think from my point of view, I think it's great that we have done this small part, but I think it's really important that it becomes part of the core curriculum in the middle schools and the high schools, which is a debate that goes on across this country. But if we're really going to seriously attack anti-Semitism, what better way to do it than to educate people about the horrors of the Holocaust?
Diane, any final thoughts?
No, he just said it all. That's
Well, I want to give you both the opportunity to share any last thoughts you have and that you'd like to share with our community about Waldman. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? A memory, a thought?
First of all, I would like as many people to participate as possible. It's the old saying, you get more by what you put into it than what you take out. And if you participate in the contest, it will, by definition, become meaningful and rewarding to all the young students. So I think that is probably the most important thing that I would like to see. And I would also just like to again express my personal appreciation to you, who've done an amazing job coordinating this, and of course to the whole professional staff at the Holocaust Center, who just do an amazing job and have done an amazing job through COVID. And on behalf of Diane and myself, we'd like to personally thank you.
Thank you, Hal and Diane. I would say that out of all the projects I do here, this is one of the most very rewarding aspects of my job because of the many things you also said, that you get to interact with students and their teachers and families and directly see the impact of not only art and writing, but learning about the Holocaust as a community. And that old saying, it takes a village. I think that very much you've contributed to the shaping of lots of young human beings in this way. So thank you so much again for all of the inspiration you've given us and over the years, and we're really looking forward to seeing future competitions. And with that, I want to conclude our interview and thank everyone for watching. If you want to learn more about the Holocaust Center of Pittsburgh, please go to our website at hcofpgh.org. And if you're interested in our events, please visit our events page, where we will have our Summer Teacher Institute listed on the top of our page. If you're a teacher and you'd like to participate, I highly encourage you register so that you can bring programming like the Waldman International Arts and Writing Competition to your classroom and align it with your curriculum goals. Thank you again, Hal and Diane.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Emily. Okay.